how do you kind of toe that line between sensible regulation and over regulation, and how do you think we're going to do that in Congress? I know you're not in Congress, but I'm sure you have some advice.
Yeah, totally. Great question. And by the way, Brian and Ed, love you guys and your breath of fresh air on X, and just appreciate all you're doing and thank you. So your guys are just great, awesome voices. So I've been as we just and so for those who don't know this, we just came off of a crypto for Kamala call. So we had a lot of great legislative leaders, really showing just the excitement about unambiguously pro innovation, pro disruption, pro crypto Democrats, and how we're excited about this opportunity with Kamala Harris to really elect somebody who understands innovation and gets it. And yeah, like any tool, and let's speak about let's speak about both blockchain as a tool, but more specifically, obviously, a financial tool in the case of crypto per se. Of course, people need to have confidence in it, and there have been, as you know, some problems, whether it was FTX or I'm sorry to hear Mount Gox in your case, and for it to catch on. Just like we have FDIC insuring bank accounts, as many of you know, right? Like if your bank goes out of business, you don't lose your money. And that's a great thing because regular, ordinary people shouldn't have to worry about like losing your money in the bank. And that also prevents panics and it's a big deal. So we need to have, and unfortunately, the word regulation kind of has a negative connotation. So I don't know if there's something else we can call it or what, but like that's basically what we're talking about is how we can make sure we have the financial certainty that like everybody's on the up and up, that our criminal laws are being, enforced, that bad dudes, and you know what? There's nothing special about crypto. There's bad dudes in any space, right? There could be a bad dude in a dry cleaner who steals your clothes and your wallet if you leave it in. There could be a pickpocket. It could be anybody. But like, they need to be prosecuted and held accountable. And so that's kind of what we have to do. I get the word regulation is one that, just like you, I kind of have an inherently kind of negative reaction to that word because, like, who wants that word? But it's really about just protecting consumers from bad guys and criminals. And so I think that's the way to frame it. And, it's important for crypto to catch on, for crypto to succeed. People have to have confidence in it, just like any technology. And I think we can help establish confidence in it, and promote more innovation if we get it right.
I think it's important that Bitcoin and crypto take off in the United States, and the United States is a leader in the innovation, because if it leaves the country, then there's absolutely no oversight whatsoever by the US government in many cases, and people can lose a ton of money to these foreign crypto run companies. Whereas if it's in the US, you are more protected. The consumer is more protected by the government of these, if they invest into these companies or if they, partake in any of these cryptos.
And that's an advantage America has, right? Like, are you going to end up without, you're not going to like deposit your money in a random bank in Gambia, right? You don't know if that's going to be worth anything the next day. Like I have these, I give my kids, our kids are, I think, similar age to yours. I have a 12-year-old, a 10-year-old. But like we got these Zimbabwe banknotes that are like a billion Zimbabwe dollars because they had like hyperinflation, right? Because, basically their government had ridiculous, unsound monetary policy. And you can buy them for $1 on Amazon, and you can get like a billion Zimbabwe dollars. But like people need to have confidence, and that's like part of America's competitive advantages. Yeah, I mean, can you lose your money here and like buy a stock that goes down? Can you buy a Bitcoin and it goes down, or Ethereum or whatever? Sure, but we don't want it to be a scam. You get what you paid for, and it's on the up and up. And if there's a criminal out there, then they should be held accountable.
So I guess one question I have, and I think a lot of probably people on the other side of the aisle, Republicans and maybe independents as well, have, especially those within the crypto space. How confident are you that President Harris, if she wins, which we all hope she does, I think, how confident are you that she would do a crypto reset and push more towards favoring crypto on a federal level than some of her predecessors
Yeah,
have?
I see her as somebody who's like totally pro innovation, right? And I just use crypto blockchain. That's one example of innovation. She is obviously from California. She gets it. She's a different generation than Joe Biden. She has lots of friends and advisors. I'll be in her ear. Many people will be in her ear to make sure that they really do the right thing on supporting pro innovation policies. So I think it's a great opportunity to reset. I don't think the Democrats need to reset. There's been Democrats like me, and you saw on the call so many other members of Congress that have always been solidly pro crypto, right? I think they mentioned I started the blockchain caucus when I was in Congress. I think they said they got 70 some House Democrats like to support pro crypto, letter. So I mean, it's always been totally fine for Democrats to be pro crypto, but we just need to make sure we have one at the top. And I think with Kamala, we'll have somebody who listens to us, and I'm excited to be one of those many voices in her ear.
So I see a hand raised. I want to see if Ian Carter. Do you have anything to ask Governor Polis or anything you add here? I know you were in politics as well, correct?
Yeah, I really appreciate the time, guys, and thank you for organizing this. And Governor, it was great to hear you on the Crypto for Harris call. I served in the legislature as the majority leader in the state assembly. I was the first millennial ever elected to the state legislature, youngest majority leader in the history of the state. I created the blockchain working group, worked on this policy area before anybody else was working on this in this space when I was in the legislature. So it was really good to see so many strong Democrats coming out. I mean, Adam Schiff, I've known Adam Schiff for a really long time. He and my dad served in the state senate together, and they were roommates back when they served together. So to see him on there and everybody else, it was really good. And I've really been very impressed with the work that Governor Polis has done in his state in Colorado. I've been very interested in this space for quite a long period of time. I see this as a huge opportunity for creating wealth. I bought Bitcoin for all my kids. I have 4 kids, 7, 5, 4, and 2. That is where my wife and I have decided to put our money to say for their college and their plans. And I just see a lot of opportunity right now in politics, in legislation, and in interest, especially from the Democratic side, to really take a leadership role in this space. And I think that it's really important. And if you want to impact what President Harris is going to do whenever she gets elected, you have to create a groundswell. You have to motivate people that are going to be talking to her, that are in her inner circle, to say, hey, this is an important space, and you need to pay attention and really think hard about creating policy to keep creativity and innovation in the United States. We talked about this all the time in California. When she was Attorney General and I was in the legislature, we talked about this issue all the time. And I know a lot of people that are close to her. These people have either been or are now just starting to come online when it comes to being supportive of this space. So I think the work that you guys are doing, Brian and Ed, especially the work that Dennis is doing. I mean, what a warrior! The amount of traveling and fighting that he does all across the country to just educate people on the space and get pro crypto, pro Bitcoin policy out there. I mean, it's amazing, and that's what it's going to take. Kamala, she understands the need for innovation. She understands why we're going to want to keep something like this in our country, to continue to be leaders in this space. So I'm hopeful, and I'm glad that everybody is putting time and effort into generating this momentum, because I think it's going to make a big difference, and she's going to be.
And let me just add, I really like what you said there, because politics is about coalitions, and you want to make a difference, be part of Kamala's coalition, right? And that's why that call was great. Crypto for Kamala is awesome. Let's show that the innovation community, the crypto community, is an important part for a coalition. And I'm happy to do that. I know a lot of people on this call are, but let's get out those tweets and kind of show how we can make a difference.
Yeah. I guess another question I'd have for you, Governor, is we've seen RFK Jr. come out wholeheartedly for crypto, and then you saw Trump follow. Do you think that Democrats are shying away from it for any one particular reason? I assume it's probably the regulatory standing that they have, the regulations that they want, and they're a little bit hesitant to come out. I think Republicans are probably more keen to embrace crypto, both for the financial gain, for they're getting donors and they're getting a lot of money from the crypto industry, but they're also less regulation, keen on regulation. Do you think that Democrats will understand or kind of figure out a way that they can both embrace it for innovation while also alleviating concerns that many Democrats have that under regulation could lead to all sorts of other
Yeah,
issues.
look, and as you said, I don't think Donald Trump gets it. I don't think he knows a lot about it. And you're right, he's not like a policy leader in this area. In fact, his administration, as we talked about in this call, was not pro crypto last time around, right? It was absolutely not. And so I think we have an opportunity for this kind of reset here with the Democrats. And, it's like any issue. Let me just say that crypto is not a partisan issue. You're going to find Republicans who are hardcore anti crypto. Sadly, yes, there probably are a few Democrats that are too. But in general, I think Democrats are the party of innovation, the party of disruption. And I, for one, have never had any negativity around my pro crypto, pro market viewpoints, and it's something I'm going to continue to do, and lots of Democrats are doing. So these are broad tenets, both parties, and I think it's good to support pro crypto people on both sides. But obviously, particularly, I think Kamala Harris can be a great president for innovation.
Go ahead, Dennis.
Real quick, Governor Polis, I want to ask you a question in just a moment here, but really quickly wanted to say thank you to Ian. He really has been a leader over there in California. Years ago, he brought me out to a roundtable with the Attorney General. He did that way before it was popular, so big props to him and the work that he's done. Governor Polis, you've been a huge advocate for this space. Me at Satoshi Action, a big part of our work is activating the states and using them as a laboratory of democracy to be able to generate innovative policy solutions. I would love to hear what your thoughts are on how the states are going to play a role here and the importance of state activism in putting good crypto and Bitcoin policy forward.
Yeah. So look, I'd love if we could do more. The primary, regulator is federal, so we're always like somewhat limited to what we can do. But like in Colorado, we actually became the first state to accept crypto for all state payments. So that was very easy to do. We don't hold crypto; we convert it in real time because we don't want to take the currency risk associated with for our taxpayers. But you can pay for your driver's license, you can pay your state income taxes, you can pay your park pass, you can do all those with crypto. And we also are very excited about applications in Department of Ag, for instance, for for instance, even the way we register brands for like cattle. Anything that involves a ledger, we can do through distributed ledger. I think it has great implications for healthcare. Because again, you look at something where people don't trust the government, they don't trust big corporations with personal data. As I like to say, sometimes what people don't like about Republicans is to say, "Oh, just trust big companies, trust the corporate America." Democrats sometimes say, and I don't think it always works, trust government. Most people don't trust either. And so blockchain allows an elegant solution where people can control their own information and assets. And that's something that I think is very attractive to most Democrats.
So we saw RFK come out with this plan to create a Bitcoin strategic reserve. It was a huge amount of Bitcoin he wanted the U.S. to buy over a course of several, I think it was a couple of decades, if I'm not mistaken. And then Trump kind of came out with the same idea. It wasn't really the same idea. He said Bitcoin reserve, but it seemed like it was only Bitcoin that the U.S. government would confiscate or that the government has confiscated and has in its holdings. Do you think that's something that the Democrats should support, is some kind of Bitcoin reserve?
Well, look, I honestly think that that's a little bit of pandering, right? Like, obviously, people who are long on Bitcoin are going to be thrilled if the government might come in as the buyer. I mean, you got to more look at, does it make sense? I mean, what do we have? We have a gold reserve. We have an oil reserve. I'm totally open to the question of should we have some kind of crypto reserve, but like I don't think it's something that you just sort of say as a talking point that to get votes from people that are like, oh, good, the government's going to buy crypto, it's going to go up in value. I'm open to it. I'm not convinced. Again, I'm not even convinced we need as large an oil reserve as we have. Although President Biden actually was a pretty clever oil trader. He probably could have made a lot of money if he had been an oil trader. He bought when oil was low and he sold our national reserve when oil was high. He did exactly what a trader is supposed to do, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, it's possible. I don't want to rule it out, but I don't think that RFK or even Trump have any solid intellectual underpinning for it. They're just saying it because they think it sounds cool and, they think it'll pander for votes. I mean, pandering for votes is not an ideological thing. People on both sides of the aisle do it. I don't want to detract from it, but I mean, I honestly think that's what's going on there.
Yeah, so we've seen. Go ahead, Dennis.
Just a quick one, real quick. A lot of Bitcoiners and folks that own digital assets really believe in the importance of maintaining accessibility to the technology and really being able to truly use Bitcoin as a technology, which involves, the ability to self-custody, the ability to run a node. Do you believe in the importance of protecting these rights, as what we call them, Bitcoin rights in the space, or digital asset rights, access to the technology? I think key of them all would probably be self custody. But curious your thoughts on making sure that Americans have access to the technology.
Absolutely. Access to technology. They need to make sure. I mean, first of all, we want to make sure that we're a good place for mining, for storage, a safe place. We want to make sure that people have confidence that they can park their Bitcoin here. Fair treatment under tax law, like any other currency or vehicle. Obviously, the discussion in the sector is, do we treat it more like a commodity or a currency? But we need to be competitive with the world. I think you mentioned this as well. We want America to be the center of the crypto economy. So let's start with that and then work backward. What policies do we need to be the center? And the answer is that, again, while you might consider it an ugly word, there needs to be some, what you might call regulation. There needs to be some way that people know what they're getting here. Nobody's going to want to invest in the Bitcoin economy in a place that has anarchy and that doesn't have a structure that allows for any confidence that you're actually getting what you paid for. So, let's start from that point. How do we make sure America is and remains the leader in Bitcoin technology? And you kind of go from there, and you say, what policies do we need to be able to achieve that?
That sounds great. Sorry to butt in. I just had a quick question for you, Governor Polis. Thanks for joining. A lot of us in the crypto industry here, Democrats and Republicans alike, say they're pro-crypto, but they only want to go after the bad guys in the industry. But where that argument starts to fall apart in a lot of our minds is the treatment of Ross Ulbricht. He received a sentence that most of us feel was quite unfair. It was
Totally
higher than what the prosecution requested in that instance. So I'm wondering if you'll be advising Kamala Harris and Tim Maltz to support commuting his sentence or giving him a full pardon, and what you think of that situation as a whole.
Yeah. So first of all, I was obviously curious about it. I even downloaded. What was that weird browser you had to download? That secure one to get to that site. Do you guys
Tor.
remember? Well, Tor. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kind of nerdy. I like that stuff, but I didn't use Tor regularly. I used normal browsers. But yeah, I got Tor. I wanted to check it out and see what was going on, and I honestly haven't been following exactly what the charges was, what he did to follow the law, but generally. With the internet, you do need to have kind of, if you're a platform and you yourself are not the one selling, illegal content, you should not generally be responsible as a matter of course. And that's like a common carrier exception, we call it. And I just don't know enough about the specific situation to know how it should have applied to him and what he did. But generally speaking, if you develop a platform, you can't be responsible for if people are using that platform in an illegal way. And obviously, there was plenty of totally legitimate commerce that was also occurring on there.
So we hear, could a lot of people suggest, I think people on the right and left have suggested that Bitcoin could become a threat to the US dollar, and that currently the US dollar is basically the world's reserve currency. And they worry that Bitcoin could overtake the dollar as a world reserve currency and in turn hurt the US. I think Trump even mentioned this back in the days when he called Bitcoin a scam. He essentially said, it's a threat to the U.S. dollar. And people on the left, politicians on the left, have also suggested that in the past. Do you see it as a threat to the U.S. dollar in that it could become a world currency? Do you believe it could become the world's reserve currency?
So first of all, this is something about Trump. I think we kind of get who he is and his character at this point. He did call it a scam. And until he realized it was a scam that could work for him, and he started selling his own MFTs, he liked scams if they worked for him, right? He just didn't want it to be somebody else's scam. Not saying his own NFTs were a scam. He obviously, there's people who want to pay for that. I can call it crap. I mean, I don't want a picture of Trump NFT. It's not my cup of tea, but hey, it's a market out there. If people want to pay for it, it's fine. It is what it is. He obviously is dodgy in how he markets things. And I'm not even talking crypto. It's Trump, whatever. He's always been kind of a dodgy kind of business guy. Getting to kind of that macroeconomic piece. First of all, I'm not an economist. I can't really qualify to talk about what this means. But I say if there is some disruption that moves away from fiat currencies and government-controlled currencies to international standards of currency, that's not all a bad thing, right? There's an optimistic side to that. Whether it's going to happen or not, I'm not saying I think this is going to happen. I actually, if anything, probably think it won't. But if it happens, that is interesting. I don't think it's unqualified good or bad for America. It's different for America. There's pluses and negatives for America being a global reserve currency. Obviously, America can have spells where they have bad monetary policy, like any nation. Monetary policy is affected by politics. You look at how many countries have suffered from bad monetary policy at times. Somebody like Trump could get in there, and if he's president and he wants to ensure either his reelection or the reelection of his successor he likes, they could try to pump money supply through the economy using that control over monetary policy. Of course, inflationary can cause recession, but that can also benefit someone's reelection. So I kind of like getting out of the hand of government in the long run. Whether it's workable or not, don't know, right? Like, don't know. But it's an interesting concept and one that I hope serious economists explore.